We have a new Patrick Surtain trade update to pass along. Is Denver desperate to trade him so that they can move up the draft board in order to take their franchise quarterback in the NFL draft? Also, we're going to hit the latest Philadelphia Eagles draft buzz. Is Howie Roseman going to make some moves to also move up the draft board? All of that coming up right now on today's Eagles Now, so let's get it. And today's Philadelphia Eagles Now is sponsored by 8 Sleep. If you're trying to improve your sleep, you can do that with the new Pod 3 cover. If you use that link down below, 8sleep.com/chatsports, you get $200 off and free shipping. So welcome into the show. I'm Chase Sr. As I said, this is Philadelphia Eagles Now. Hope everybody out there is having a fantastic weekend and a phenomenal Sunday. For it being at the midway point of April, it is a great sports day. Masters in Augusta, Major League Baseball, last day of the NBA season with a lot of playoff implications, and of course, we're talking some birds here. And in talking about the birds, what's going on the Patrick Surtain trade front? It's been a little bit silent over the last couple of weeks, but things starting to heat up a little bit here. Are the Broncos desperate to trade him so that they can matriculate up the draft order to take their franchise quarterback? This report and this stuff coming from Paul Allen, KFAN Radio in Minnesota. He said, I'm not kidding you, man. I would not be surprised if it was, we want that number 3 pick so badly that we will give you pick number 12. We will give you next year's first rounder, and we will give you Patrick Surtain the second. I'm not kidding you. The Denver Broncos are that desperate. My immediate thoughts in listening to that and reading that off for the audience here, the Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman are going to be on the clock right now at pick number 22. So this would not involve Philadelphia because it doesn't help the Denver Broncos trade up the draft board unless this could be a 3-team NBA-like trade. And it could be a blockbuster trade to help Denver put together a couple of different trades to then move up the draft board. Let's put on the hat of an NFL general manager here. The Philadelphia Eagles trade number 22 for quarterback Patrick Surtain directly. The Broncos then trade number 12, their own pick, and that 22nd pick that they acquired from Philadelphia to further move up the draft board to get their quarterback. Then, as Paul Allen said, they would have to trade that next year pick. They wouldn't have to do that. They trade 12, they trade 22, and they move up the draft. Now, for them to get to number 3, that's pretty lofty for my trade idea, but I actually think this is somewhat realistic, and I'll explain why. Eagles receive Patrick Surtain. They address a weakness here. They get an all-pro corner. They sign him to a contract extension, and their defense becomes a lot better. The Broncos and Bears are not Super Bowl contenders right now. They are far from it. The Philadelphia Eagles are in that Super Bowl window. So this improves their football club drastically right now. The Broncos then receive that first-round pick from the Chicago Bears to go up to number 9 because a couple of picks right in front of that 9 overall selection, those teams don't need a franchise quarterback right now. And then the Bears, who already got their guy in Caleb Williams, their franchise quarterback with the first overall pick, go back from 9 to 12. They don't have a second-round selection, so now they get 1 overall, 12 overall, and then that flip-flop pick from Philadelphia to Denver then goes to Chicago, and Chicago gets the 22nd overall pick. And this helps out every team here. Philadelphia gets their cornerback. The Broncos move up to get their quarterback. The Bears stockpile picks because originally, and right now, they're number 1, number 9. They still get Caleb Williams. They move back to 12, and they get the 22nd overall pick. And they can get 3 high-level impact players for their rebuilding football team. So would you trade the 22nd overall pick for Patrick Surtain? This is today's poll question. This is our pinned comment, T for trade or a P for pass. What this immediately would mean for the Philadelphia Eagles here is that the Birds get their top flight cornerback, as I noted. You would have to trade for and then give a contract extension to Patrick Surtain. He's going to demand $20+ million. But Philadelphia right now is equipped with about more than $30 million of cap space. In the immediacy of the moment, your cornerback 1-2 punch for 2024 is Darius Slay on one side as your one perimeter corner and Patrick Surtain as your other outside corner. It's pretty damn good. Older player in Slay, younger player, but going into year 4 and Patrick Surtain, he's pretty experienced and accomplished in this league. Surtain then, down the road and right now, becomes your number 1. You have one of the better number 2 cornerbacks in the NFL in Darius Slay, and in turn, you get younger at cornerback, you get better at cornerback, and let me add this, you get deeper at cornerback as well. You have Avonte Maddox in the slot. You brought him back. You have Kelee Ringo. You have Eli Ricks, and if an injury does happen, you have that necessary depth, and it doesn't look like the Eagles are going to be able to get rid of James Bradberry, but he's going to be on the bench, parked there, and if injuries do happen, you'll get a motivated player in James Bradberry. If the Eagles can get a 2022 Patrick Surtain, he's going to move the needle for this club. Gimme, gimme, gimme. This year, he was a first-team All-Pro. He had 7 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, a Pro Football Focus coverage grade of 86.7, and an overall PFF grade of 86.8. And you think about Howie Roseman. He loves blue-chip players, blue-chip prospects, and he likes being aggressive in doing that. This is a totally feasible trade that the Eagles would be able to pull off with another trade partner in the Denver Broncos and the Chicago Bears, and this helps their football squads as well. Before we get to the latest Eagles draft buzz, final day of the NBA regular season, NBA playoffs begin this week with the play-in tournament and then the regular NBA playoffs. Are you a Sixers fan on top of being a Philadelphia Eagles fan? If the answer to that question is yes, you're in a good spot, because I also host a 76ers channel right here at Chat Sports alongside my boy producer, Chip. That channel is approaching 15,000 subscribers. All you have to do is search 76ers Now by Chat Sports on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com/76ers Now. We'll also put that link down in the comment section of this video. Approaching 15,000 subscribers. If you like our watch parties here on Eagles Now, we're going to do some watch parties for the playoffs on 76ers Now, and we give you year-round coverage on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Sixers. Philadelphia, Eagles, Sixers. A lot of people have overlapping fandoms for both of those squads, so we wanted to plug that here. Coming up next, latest Eagles draft buzz. What is Howie Roseman going to do at the end of this month with the draft quickly approaching in just 2 Thursdays? First, you're approaching your time to get some shut-eye, aren't you? Yeah, regardless of what time you're watching this video, you're going to need to get some sleep at some point. And if you want to improve your sleep, make sure you do it with 8 Sleep. The pod cover will improve your sleep by automatically adjusting your bed's temperature based on your individual needs. The cover can be added to any bed like a fitted sheet, and it allows you and your partner to cool or warm your side of the bed as low as 55 degrees and up to 110 degrees. In addition to keeping you at the perfect temp all night, the pod also tracks your sleep and health metrics. On average, pod users see their sleep quality improve by 32% after just 1 month on the pod. There's no better way to improve your day-to-day life better than sleep. Easiest way to do that, 8 Sleep's Pod 3. Start the new year right. Invest in the rest that you deserve. And by going to 8sleep.com/chatsports, you get $200 off plus free shipping on the pod cover by 8 Sleep. Better sleep at 8 Sleep. Kickstart the year fully charged. And it's the sleep to power a whole new you with the intelligent sleep system. And you can control everything right from the power of your own phone. This link and all of this information is available in the show notes as well as in the comment section of this video. Latest Eagles draft rumblings next here on Eagles Now. Just want to get to the buzz on what the Eagles could do in the NFL draft. And a possibility here is maybe trading up for an offensive lineman. Keep in mind that Lane Johnson, albeit still playing at an all-pro level, getting a little bit older. He's even said he has a few years left in the tank, and you could draft his future replacement for a player who could play right guard right now to really bulk up that offensive line. Matt Miller, ESPN NFL draft analyst, just floating this out there. And this is some reporting as well. I continue to hear in conversations with scouts around the league that GM Howie Roseman could look to solidify the right tackle position early in the draft. Even in round one, Tyler Guyton has spent time in the pre-draft process training with current Eagles right tackle Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson also went to Oklahoma, by the way. The Eagles started planning ahead at center, before Jason Kelce's retirement, and drafting Guyton, who started just 14 games in college, would allow him to learn and develop under Johnson and famed offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland. And if the Eagles do go offensive line in the first round, you have confidence that Stoutland is going to be able to develop that player. Look at what he did for Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, especially a player like Mailata, who Stoutland played a role in discovering, who was a rugby player who had never played organized football, and now he's a Pro Bowl player, number 3 overall graded offensive tackle, according to PFF in 2023, and the 4th highest graded offensive tackle in the NFL. So Stoutland would be able to really help streamline the development of a player like Tyler Guyton, who has great size, prototypical tackle size, 6'7", 322 pounds. He's very athletic. I saw him at the NFL Combine. What stood out to me about a player like that, he doesn't have a lot of bad weight, meaning he's not like pudgy, and he doesn't have that nasty weight with the hula hoop going over his belt line. Like, he's very slender. He's in excellent shape, and you see that with how he's able to move in open space with his light and balanced feet, which helps him out in pass protection. 15 career starts. You can tell because he is an inexperienced player. He is more comfortable on that right side, so eventually if you want him to take over for Lane Johnson, he's going to be able to do that. And if he stays motivated, if he stays healthy, the upside there is tremendous. Kool-Aid McKinstry, this news coming out a couple of days ago, does have a top 30 visit set with the Eagles. Are going to meet with him, the Alabama cornerback who, opposite of Terrion Arnold, formed one of the best cornerback duos in college football over the last couple of years. So when I scout Kool-Aid McKinstry, I thought it was pretty impressive how at his pro day he ran a 4.47 40-yard dash with a broken foot, the Jones fracture in his foot. He is expected to be ready by training camp. I like his size a lot as compared to a player like Nate Wiggins, who's very thin. Kool-Aid has a little bit more oomph to his frame. 5'11", 199 pounds, whereas Nate Wiggins is like a $180 soaking wet. Kool-Aid has good balance, fluid hips that helps him play and flourish at that cornerback spot. Long arms for a corner so he can jam at the line, but also allows you to tip and deflect some passes. I think he reads the eyes of wide receivers well. That allows him to really anticipate making plays on the football. What's interesting is that he only has 2 interceptions in 2,199 defensive snaps in his college career. He can return punts. That adds to his value. I think Eagles fans and this coaching staff especially would like him for the mentality, the confidence, and the swagger that he has. He is a dog. His speed is just okay, but again, 4.47 is pretty solid. Missed no games in college, but did suffer concussion last year and did have that Jones fracture in his foot. So Eagles rumored to be in on offensive linemen. Those have really taken up a lot of their 30 visits in the pre-draft process. The second most frequented position as far as visits go in the pre-draft process, cornerback. So let's ask you, what position would you go? Offensive line, cornerback in round 1 for Philadelphia. Comment below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to us here on 76ers Now, and we'll catch you next time here on the show.